the Ortobaja National Park in Hungary, and the Batad Rice Terraces in the Philippines. Both these places represent a confluence between humans and their environment. Both are considered cultural landscapes, and both might just offer solutions to some of our environmental problems. Areas like these embrace a diversity of interactions between humankind and nature in a way that reflects specific techniques of sustainable land use that consider the limits of the natural environment they are established in. So, understanding the concept of a cultural landscape is important to understanding how to exist ethically in a rapidly changing environment. Today, we are going to look at what forms cultural landscapes take and why they are a crucial step towards navigating a relationship with our surroundings, whether urban or rural. A cultural landscape can take many shapes, including religious or spiritual relationships with the land, like the Kii Mountains in Japan, which are integral in local Shinto and Buddhist traditions. However, I'm going to focus on cultural landscapes that are designed and created intentionally by humans as a means of subsistence. Generally, this means agricultural land use systems that over time have led to rich cultural traditions, which build community reverence for the land and environment. In a way, this directly addresses how we might be able to build communities that counter the push for industrialized land use while still maintaining a strong output of food and raw materials that don't degrade the environment around it. With this mission, the rice terraces of Japan's Wajima City on the Noto Peninsula, known as Shiroyone Senmaira, have exemplified the definition of a cultural landscape in its blend of culturally and sustainably sound practices. Over 1,000 rice paddies dot the Japanese coastline, representing an agricultural tradition that has pervaded the Noto Peninsula for over 1,300 years. This tradition of farming rice fields still exists today, albeit at a lower output due to the aging of the local population and a lack of replacements. These terraced rice paddies produce not only essential Japanese commodities in the form of rice, but also foster a form of biodiversity in the environment by providing habitat for local fauna. The rice paddies of Shiroyone consist of a series of constructed levees and concrete walls built to contain the water along the foothills of the coast. These practices coincide with the traditional agricultural procedures that exist as sort of a physical history for the Noto Peninsula. Much in opposition to modern industrial agriculture, this local agriculture requires a deep connection to the land and a historical understanding of how local traditions dealt with subsisting on their immediate environments. In an investigation into the agricultural system of the Noto Peninsula, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations claims the peninsula is a microcosm of traditional rural Japan, where agricultural systems are integrally linked to mountains and forest activities upstream and coastal marine activities downstream. Holistic approaches to integrated human activities like fishing, farming, and forestry have traditionally been practiced and continued to coexist there. Therefore, by interpreting resource production on the Noto Peninsula as more than just an agricultural process, but having cultural and environmental ties as well, we can focus on how humans interact with the land on all levels to create a cultural landscape. This archetype for land use is essential for understanding not only how Japan can successfully coexist with its rich environment, but also how other countries can look towards their own local cultures to understand the landscape in a new way. Learning from cultural landscapes, then, is a necessary complement to increased urbanization because it offers a way to build more ethical relationships between built environments and natural ones. By recognizing cultural landscapes, we take a step towards not just preserving spaces, but actively seeking to acknowledge the significance of a strong relationship between culture and environment. In doing so, we can re-engage environmentalism on a different level, one that treats nature as an integral part of the everyday human experience, be it urban or rural. Ultimately, the idea of a cultural landscape allows people to use traditional knowledge to escape the destructive paradigm of reckless land use. In this way, it disrupts the belief that only new technology can save us. There are already a number of sustainable agricultural practices being used by people all around the world. So it is imperative that we listen and learn from those who have maintained strong agricultural traditions over centuries of responsible land stewardship. Thanks so much for watching. This video took over 25 hours to make, so if you are feeling generous today, feel free to support this channel on Patreon by pledging $1 for every video I upload. Otherwise, I will see you next time.